Right, the Renault 16. Now, this was a car. It arrived on the scene in 1965, a rather interesting year. The world was changing and so were automobiles. Renault, the French manufacturer, decided to do something a bit different. They didn't just want to build another saloon car. Oh no. They aimed for something more versatile, more practical. It was, to put it mildly, a bit of a revelation for many, a French revolution, but this time on four wheels. When the R16 first appeared, people weren't quite sure what to make of it. It had this rather unusual shape, a sort of extended rear. Today we'd call it a hatchback, quite nonchalantly, but back then it was a bold move for a family car. Some traditionalists probably scoffed, wanting their three-box saloons. But others, the more forward-thinking types, saw the sheer brilliance. It hinted at a future where cars could be more than just transport. They could be adaptable companions for life's various adventures. Underneath that distinctive bodywork, the R16 was also quite advanced. It featured front-wheel drive, which was not universally common then. This layout helped with interior space, you see. No bulky transmission tunnel, and it had a rather sophisticated independent suspension system. This meant a comfortable ride, even on less than perfect French country roads. It wasn't just about looking different, it was engineered to be different. The focus was clearly on practicality and comfort from the very start. A car designed with real people and real families in mind. But the real magic, the bit that truly set the R16 apart, was inside. The exterior was intriguing, yes, but the interior was where the genius truly shone. Those clever French engineers had been thinking hard. They weren't just content with comfortable seats and a decent boot. They envisioned an interior that could transform, adapt and serve multiple purposes. This was where the Renault R16 really began to show the world that it wasn't just another car, it was the original transformer, and that, as we'll see, was a very big deal indeed. Now let's talk about these seats, because they were the heart of the R16's charm. They weren't merely places to park your backside, not at all. These seats were designed with an extraordinary degree of flexibility. The Renault engineers clearly thought, why should a seat only do one thing? And so they created a system that offered multiple configurations. It was like having a Swiss Army knife, but for your car's interior. This was long before anyone had even dreamed of the term MPV. The R16 was pioneering this sort of thing with quiet confidence. In its standard setup, the R16 offered comfortable seating for five. Plenty of room for a family, their luggage and perhaps a small dog. The front seats were plush and the rear bench was accommodating. This was all well and good, perfectly normal for a family car of the era, but this was just the default setting, the starting point. The real fun began when you started to explore the other options. With a few simple adjustments, the entire character of the interior could change. It was all remarkably straightforward, no complex mechanisms involved. One of the most talked about features was the flat bed mode. Imagine this. You could fold the rear seat squab up against the front seats. Then the front seats could be reclined fully flat, meeting the folded rear. This created a surprisingly long and level surface. Perfect for an impromptu nap on a long journey if you were so inclined. Or perhaps for transporting something long and awkward from a flea market. It wasn't quite a double bed, mind you, but it was impressively spacious, a feature that highlighted the car's utilitarian yet comfortable nature. Then there was the rather delightful picnic position, or holiday mode. For this, the rear seat base could be slid forward towards the front seats. The rear seat backrest could then be reclined significantly. This created a sort of rear-facing lounge area, accessible from the hatchback. You could imagine families parked up, enjoying a scenic view, perhaps with some cheese, a baguette, and a bottle of vin ordinaire. It was a wonderfully Gallic touch, this thinking about leisurely pursuits. The R16 wasn't just about getting there, it was about enjoying the experience. The cleverness didn't stop with just beds and picnic spots. Oh no, there was also a configuration that could be described as a child's bed. By arranging the front passenger seat and part of the rear seat in a specific way, a small enclosed sleeping area could be created in the back. Now, modern safety standards might raise an eyebrow at this today, but back in the 1960s it was seen as incredibly thoughtful. It demonstrated a deep understanding of family needs. a car that truly tried to cater to every member of the household. Beyond the trick seating, the R16 was a champion of luggage capacity. The hatchback design, a novelty for its class, was key to this. It provided a huge opening at the rear, making loading bulky items a doddle. With the rear seats folded or even completely removed, which you could do, the R16 offered a cargo space comparable to a small van. Imagine the trips to the DIY store or moving a student off to university. It could swallow an astonishing amount of stuff. Terribly useful. This made it incredibly popular with families and small businesses alike. This inherent flexibility made the Renault R16 a truly versatile machine. It wasn't just a car for the school run or the commute to work. It was a car for holidays, for hobbies, for moving house. It adapted to the owner's life rather than forcing the owner to adapt to the car. This was a fundamental shift in automotive thinking for a mass-market vehicle. It was designed from the inside out, focusing on what people actually did with their cars. A tool for living, not just a status symbol or a mere mode of transport, and that philosophy resonated with a great many people. Other practical elements contributed to its everyday usability too. The wide track and long wheelbase gave it stability and a smooth ride. The aforementioned front-wheel drive provided good traction in varied conditions. Visibility out of the large windows was generally excellent, and the controls were usually light and easy to operate. It all added up to a car that was remarkably easy to live with. It didn't demand much from its driver but offered a great deal in return. A truly sensible yet innovative approach to personal transportation. If you look at modern cars, especially family-oriented ones, you see the R16's DNA. The concept of versatile seating is now commonplace in MPVs and many SUVs. Seats that slide, fold, tumble, and even disappear into the floor. Car makers boast about the number of seating configurations their vehicles offer. Well, the Renault R16 was doing this sort of thing 60 years ago. It laid the groundwork, demonstrating the appeal of such adaptability. It showed that a car's interior could be as innovative as its engine, a lesson that many manufacturers have since taken to heart. The hatchback body style itself, which the R16 helped popularize for family cars, is now ubiquitous. While it wasn't the very first car with a hatch, it was arguably the first to successfully combine this practical feature with a comfortable medium-sized family car package. It proved that you didn't need a separate estate car for carrying capacity. A 5-door configuration offered the best of both worlds. This was a significant step in automotive evolution. The R16 showed that practicality didn't have to be boring or utilitarian in appearance. It could be stylish in its own unique French way. The Renault R16 was, in many respects, a car far ahead of its time. It anticipated the changing needs and lifestyles of car buyers. It understood that families wanted more than just A to B transportation. They wanted a vehicle that could support their activities, their hobbies, their lives. This human-centric approach to design is more relevant today than ever. As our lives become more varied, we demand more flexibility from our possessions. The R16 was an early pioneer of this user-focused design philosophy. It dared to be different, and it succeeded spectacularly. So the Renault R16 deserves its place as a true benchmark in automotive design. It wasn't just a quirky French car, it was a visionary machine. It seamlessly blended comfort, practicality, and innovative engineering. Its influence can still be seen on the roads today, decades after its launch. A testament to the brilliance of those Renault engineers back in the 60s, the Renault R16, the original transformer car. Quite brilliant, really. It showed that sometimes the most revolutionary ideas are also the most sensible. Now, if you'll excuse me, I fancy a bit of cheese.